Hello and welcome back to our channel. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can pass Excel assessment test. Job placement agencies often test your Excel skills to make sure you are proficient. They use different type of test and the one we are talking about is just one example. And in this video, I'm going to go step by step and complete all these 10 steps of this test. Here in this Excel sheet, you can see this is the practice document on the left and you see list of steps on the right with the status. So we will go one by one and complete each step of this Excel assessment test. For the best outcome, I suggest download this sample file from the link below and following along with me. This will help you learn and succeed. Now let's focus on the step number 1. So the step number 1 asks us to extend column B to fit the total cost by month. So column B is this column right here and the total cost by month is this value. So as part of this step, what we need to do, we need to expand column B like this. Put your cursor here and drag this to the side as needed. And now the value of the total cost by month fits into the column B and we will mark this step as completed. What I'm gonna do is I can write here completed. Okay, to best complete exercise, it often help to understand what kind of data you are dealing with. So let's take a close look at the data. This is the table with office expenses and looks like expenses are categorized by different items. We have computer expenses, internet bills, electricity bills, lease, utilities and other supplies. Then we have values by month. We have March through July. This as the value related to these expenses. Knowing this information will help us to complete step number 2 of Excel assessment test. To complete this, let's go ahead and read it. We need to calculate total cost of expenses by month using a formula. We already extended the column to fit total cost by month. Now we need to populate the values here in this row and the best formula to do this work is the sum formula. You can type in some formula. I will show you multiple ways how you can do it. You can type formula is equal to sum and then you just highlight the range for which it's applicable and then you close the parenthesis and hit enter. And this way you can get the total. Another way to do is there is a sum formula button on the home ribbon. You can click it and Excel recognize very correctly. In this case, Excel anticipated correctly what the range is. So I'll hit enter again and record the calculation. And the third way would be when you already have the formula, you can just drag it to the side columns to get the calculations. You see this little icon right here. Just click on it and drag it to the side and it will automatically get to the correct calculations. Another way to do it would be it would be using the alt plus is equal to on your computer. Now this is a shortcut to using the sum function. All you have to do is press alt and is equal to on your computer and it will automatically anticipate the range and then you press enter. Okay, now we can mark this step as completed. Let's go and continue to step number 3. And step number 3 is create border around the table. So first we need to understand what is a table. And in this case, a table is all expenses, even the ones that we have not calculated yet, with the total cost and an average cost, which we have steps to calculate later. So what we need to do, we need to highlight the table. Select the borders around the table and the best value for this section is all borders. So this is what I'm gonna go and I'm going to select and this completes step number 3. The border is now inserted. Let me write complete here. And now we go to step number 4. And step number 4 is change the data type into currency. What we need to understand here is the difference between values for the monthly expenses in total expenses versus just text values, which describe expenses themselves. And what we need to do, we need to format data values as currency. To do that, we need to highlight the data and select the currency sign number. You see this dollar sign on the home ribbon in number group. Just click on it and a dollar sign will be inserted here. We have completed step number 4. So now we can mark it as completed. Moving on to the step number 5, and in step number 5 we need to use formula to calculate total cost. So formula would be the same. The best way to calculate total cost would be to use the sum formula, and we already looked at how to use it. The only difference would be that we have used it vertically to calculate values for the column. Now we will be using it horizontally to calculate values for the rows. But the concept is the same for the sum. It doesn't matter, it uses the range. So I am going to write is equal to sum and select these cells and then hit enter. Now for these below cells, I am just going to drag the range for these values up to the total cost by month. And you can see total cost by month doesn't fit as well as our header. So it's better for us to extend it a little bit. And we can mark step 5 as completed. Let's go and continue to step number 6. And step number 6 asks us to use a formula to calculate average cost. For average cost, let's expand the column I a little bit, and I'll show you another way to extend the column. So all the text fit. You can just double click on the line and that separates I and J, and that expand the column up to the size of the text that's in the column I. So what we will do now, we will use average formula. I have showed you how to use the sum formula, and for the average formula you need to type is equal to and then write average, and then we have to select the range. And the trick here is that we do not want to include total cost by into calculations of the average. We just need to select the value from C7 through G7, which would represent all the values, and then we close the parenthesis and you see the formula here and hit enter. Now we can drag this formula down because it's going to be the same, all the values up to the office supplies. Perfect. Mark step 6 as completed. Let's continue to step number 7, and in step number 7 it asks us to change alignment in column E to right. So column E is May month. We can select column E, and there is no alignment right now in column E, but this is the right alignment, and that button by clicking right complete the step 7 in our checklist, and we will mark step 7 as completed. The question number 8 is find the highest value and highlight it in average cost. The best way to find the highest value is using the max formula. We can select this cell below the average cost column and then right here is equal to max and open parenthesis and select this range, close parenthesis and hit enter. Okay, so 574 is the highest value. Now the second part of the question is to highlight the highest value. We can use conditional formatting to highlight it, but in this case we can also give it a background color to highlight. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it this yellow background color and maybe make it bold as well. Okay, that seemed perfect to me. We can mark step 8 as complete. Let's continue to step number 9, and that is save file on your computer. We can save the file to documents folder. To do that, we click on the file tab and we click save as, and then we click on this PC and more options. And here we see this documents folder right here. So I can select document folder, and we can also rename our file and check that everything's looking good, and we click the save button. Let's mark step number 9 as completed. Now we can move to step number 10. And step number 10 is change page orientation to landscape. So page orientation is defined. For this, go to page layout tab. We click on the page layout tab and we click on orientation. Right now you see orientation is portrait. So we just need to switch orientation to landscape, and we can mark this step as completed. Go back to the home tab and right here complete. Alright, so that was it for today's video. I hope this video will be a helpful asset in your next Excel assessment test. I'll be posting another 10-step video for the Excel assessment test. Stay tuned for that. Hit the bell icon so you will be notified when I post the second part. See you there.